Hi, my name's Craig, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make muscles bigger or, make your waist smaller and basically edit your photograph to enhance it without modifying the background. We've all seen those horrible Photoshop images where, somebody's changed the proportions of a body somewhere and the door frame in the background's warped or the curtain or, like the background is basically following the contours of the body where somebody's edited it badly and it jumps out and it's so obvious what they've done, and there's a lot of ridicule comes with those pictures. So today what I'm going to show you is how to enhance your photograph without editing the background, um, to the point where basically people shouldn't be able to notice that it's been enhanced. And as you can see, I've got this rather fetching photograph here of Justin Bieber, which we're gonna bulk up a little bit. And the idea is, you can't really go overboard with it, or it becomes obvious that it's been massively edited. There's only so much you can do with it, but you can add on a fair few pounds of muscle literally in a few minutes. So yeah, what we're gonna do is to start off is we're gonna have two layers. One is the background, and one is a cutout version of the image. If you don't know how to cut the background off, there is another tutorial on that, which I'll put a link to. I suggest you follow that first to get to this stage. And basically we've got two layers. So we have this layer on top of this layer. And what we're going to do with that, if you did follow my previous tutorial, you'll end up with a layer mask. We're going to have to apply the layer mask to it so that we now just have the cutout image. They don't look very different, but the difference is that one still has the background on and is using a mask to hide it. One literally doesn't have a background, and you need to not have that background because when you warp it, it'll not allow it to extend beyond the edges of the skin. So yeah, if you go ahead and apply that, I just did that by right clicking on the layer mask and choosing apply layer mask. And then we'll be at this point, and from here on it's really quite straightforward. We're just going to go to filter and then go to Liquify. Now what Liquify allows you to do is it allows you to manipulate the image just by clicking and pulling it, or you can totally modify the image in any way. And I like to have the background on. If you don't have these options, just choose advanced options from here and go down to show backdrop, and you can show the backdrop of if you don't have this on, you can't really see the background. I like to have the background on for some reason. I just because you can see what the picture is going to look like when it's finished. So I choose show backdrop. You're probably going to want to use the background layer, and you want it behind. If it's in front, you won't be able to see your modifications applying because they'll be hidden by this layer. So you want it behind, and then this means now you can still see the background when you're moving the image about. And we're going to use the Bulge tool, Bloat tool, which is this tool here. And this basically just allows whatever it is that you're clicking on to get bigger. And this is mainly what we're going to use. I mean, on this image, you want your brush to be a lot bigger than what you're doing, because if the brush doesn't cover the whole muscle, you're just gonna bulge parts of it, which will then make it look like he's got sort of, something weird going on with him. So yeah, I'm probably gonna go to about 200 for this one. But what you want is it to actually cover the whole of the muscle. So then when you bloat it out, it just swells that one area. And what we're going to do here is literally we're just going to click out a few areas. Don't worry so much about it warping his face or whatever, because we'll fix that. But you just want to literally bulge out a few areas. So shoulders maybe. Chest. These are all areas people want to add to. And then you can pull sections out. So I'm just going to pull his elbow out a little bit. probably pull his chest up a little bit because it's moved down where I've warped it. So we pull that up a bit. I mean, that's probably going to do. We've added a good few pounds of muscle on there. I mean, from that to that in a matter of seconds. Yeah, you wish. Right. So, if you'll notice, I did warp his chin a little bit. Which it's not that big of a deal, but it bothers me. So, if we change this top layer, you can change the opacity of this down so you can see the other layer underneath it. And I'm just going to add a layer mask now to this, which is, if you don't know about layer masks, I mean, you might if you followed the previous tutorial, but a layer mask just allows me to edit stuff without actually deleting it. So I can, whatever I draw on in black on this layer will remove it, so I can rub it out and get the layer underneath. But if I want to draw it back in with white, it'll come back, which you can't do if you've deleted it properly. So the layer mask is handy for this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it just to bring his face back in a bit. So I'm going to just rub out this layer slightly, which is going to bring the chin back in where I've warped it out. And as you can see there, the shoulder's just nicking off there, so I'm just going to draw that back in. Just to stop his face being a bit warped out, that's all. Okay, so we've added the muscle on, and as you can see, none of the background is being warped. So you can't, like this light here, if it hasn't distorted at all. But what I have noticed is you can see a bit of his back poking out from the layer below. So what I'm going to do is just move that in a bit. And we can do this just by literally like moving it out from this layer. So if I use the clone stamp tool, which is this one here, and what I can do is just move this in a bit using the clone stamp tool. Might want to take it from over here, so the sample. We're just going to literally drop that in there. And all we're doing here with the clone stamp tool is, if you're not familiar with it, whatever you choose as your sample. So you know, you've got a brush here, choose clone stamp, choose a brush. You can literally choose a sample by holding down the option key or alt, and then if you click, it takes a sample, and then you can draw that somewhere else on the image. So all I was doing there was I was taking a sample of this blue bar, and then I was drawing it in over the top of this bit of the image, which allows me to just delete the background out. And all that means now is that when I put this image back on top, we no longer have that double back bit. So we have that, we have the muscle mass increased, and what we're going to do now is just do some highlighting on the abs. So we've got this thing called the burn tool and the dodge tool. The burn tool makes things darker, the dodge tool makes things lighter. So we're going to use the burn tool here, and we're probably going to want the brush to be about 20 on this image. And you want it to be a soft brush. If it's hard, it'll look horrendous, so make sure that it's on 0% for the hardness. And up here you've got your exposure. Now 100% is going to make things really dark really fast, but if we set it to about 25%, it'll be really subtle. And what this allows you to do is just draw in the shadows. So where there should be shadows or where there is shadows, you can just make them a bit darker. So we're probably going to do there and do in here, maybe down the side of the abs there, under here maybe, make that a bit darker. And this will really make it sort of pop. This is what you need to sort of make the muscle pop out. In fact, to be honest, I'm going to make the exposure a little bit less because that was still too dark. You could see it went a bit comic-y, like cartoon-like. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to 15, just so it's a bit more subtle. And I'm going to do it again. Now, you can't really notice that much when you're doing it. It doesn't look so drastic. That's what you want. You don't want it to look like you're drawing makeup on or anything like that. You want it to be really subtle. And that's the whole point, is to keep all of this subtle. If it starts going on too obvious, it'll be obvious on the end image. So all this just needs to be really subtle. And what that does is it actually makes the abs pop a bit more. So it makes them look deeper than they are maybe. If I increase this to sort of a bit bigger, we can darken this whole section down. Maybe darken the chest down. And then we're going to use the Bulge Tool. Like I said, this makes things lighter. So again, I'm going to set the exposure to 15. Probably going to drop my brush size to about 20. And we're just going to pick them highlights up on the edge of the abs. And maybe along the top, down the side. Along the top, down the side. Maybe in that crease there where you can pick a bit of light up. And on this chest bit, I'm going to increase the brush size to 30. I'm going to run that up the inside of the chest. And probably increase it to about 60 and pick that highlight up on the edge of the chest here. And as you can see, that has really bulked the abs out, made them look a lot sharper, and really sort of bulked them up. And you can play about with these. I mean, if you set that to maybe 10, you can pick highlights up or shadows or midtones. If you're picking highlights up, you can really sort of draw obvious changes in light, but I tend to keep it on midtones. It tends to keep things a bit more subtle. And you can really sort of carve them out if you wanted to. Obviously, the more you carve them out, the less likely they are to look real, I guess. I mean, there's only so much you can do. You can't really you know, if you haven't got anything there to work with, it's really difficult to just draw it in and make it look realistic. You're really going for an enhancement rather than an all-out complete edit. And if you want to completely edit it, you'd be better off just putting somebody else's body in there. But these are just little subtle enhancements, and as you can see, they really do carve out the muscle shape. And that's pretty much all there is to it. I mean, he looks like he skipped leg day, but other than that, it's all done. So I hope this was helpful. And if you've got any questions, let me know in the comments. And thanks for your time.